Hey squad, what is going on? I want to first off appreciate everyone for clicking on this video. If you're new to the channel, do me a huge favor, make sure you like, leave a comment on the video, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. That would definitely help me out a lot. And all you guys supporting your boy on this YouTube journey, man, it doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now on today's video, you see the title, you see the thumbnail. No clickbait or cap on this channel, man, because like I said, why lie? I'm gonna bring you exactly what you are clicking on. I'm not gonna clickbait you, I'm not gonna bait and switch you or anything like that, man. So I am gonna talk about the 4 most difficult mods that I've done to my car. Now, if you've been following the channel, you know I like to do a lot of mods on my car myself, if I can help it. There's very few mods on my car that I have not done myself. The only mods I have not done myself in my car is the suspension, the exhaust, and I think that is it. I think everything else I've done myself. When I started my channel, most of the mods on my car were already done. So I did bring you guys some reviews on certain mods that I've done to the car. But I want to give you guys some more insight on some of the mods and how difficult they are to do on yourself. And this is gonna give you guys like an idea, like if this is something you should pay someone else to do, or can you tackle it yourself or whatnot. So that's gonna be depending on your skill level. I don't know anyone's skill level, but I just want to give you that insight, right? A lot of times when I do mods to my car, like especially when I film it, I cut a lot of the time out. Like a mod may take me 4 or 5 hours to do, but you guys only get like 10 minutes of the process. You only get like the highlights of the process. On this video, I'm gonna give you some more details as far as like which mods are really difficult to do, so that way you can make the decision for yourself how you need to operate, whether you want to do it yourself or take it to someone else to do it. So let's get into today's video. Now for the criteria that I'm basing this on, yes, it is the 4 most difficult mods to do, but I'm gonna base it on 3 criteria what makes it difficult. The first thing is, of course, it's gonna be difficulty level, like how hard is it to do. I'm also gonna base this on time, like how long will it take you to do it? Because a lot of people know time is money, and if you don't have the time to invest to do this mod, you may want to get someone else to do it. So difficulty level, time, and I'm also going to base it on risk of damage. That means like if you do the mod yourself, what is the risk that you can break something that's going to cost you a lot of money to come back and fix later on or something like that. So those are going to be the 3 criteria: difficulty, time it takes to do it, and the risk of damage. I forgot that. The risk of damage. So let's get into today's video. I'm gonna talk about my 4 mods now. All right, for the first mod I'm gonna talk about, these mods are in no particular order whatsoever. So I'm not ranking them, I'm just going through them. So the first mod that I feel like is somewhat difficult based on the 3 criteria I gave you is the Wicker Bill. Now, far as the difficulty to putting this on, if you're pretty good with, you know, drilling holes and things like that, I feel like this mod is pretty simple in that aspect for drilling the holes. The time frame aspect, I feel like you can do a Wicker Bill maybe about a couple of hours to put a Wicker Bill on, depending on how comfortable you are with doing that. Now, here's the part where this makes it a little bit more difficult. The risk of damage is really high with doing a Wicker Bill. And the reason it's a high risk of damage, a lot of times when you do something, you can reverse what you did. In this case, if you mess up, you can't reverse it, because you are drilling into your spoiler here. So no matter what Wicker Bill you get, you will have to drill into your spoiler. If you mess up drilling into your spoiler, you can't reverse that. Now, you might have to, if you mess up bad enough, you may have to buy a new spoiler. And these spoilers, like a factory spoiler on these cars, cost about maybe $300, $400, depending on what kind of spoiler you have. And it's gonna take more time to get that spoiler out, because you gotta open the trunk, of course, go in, take the lining out, and take all the bolts down to get the spoiler out. And you can say, well, you can find a spoiler for cheaper, but a lot of times the spoilers that are not the factory spoilers do not fit the same. They don't have the same bolts. They're not the same size. So going with a non-factory spoiler, it may show up. It may show that you don't have a non-factory spoiler because it doesn't fit the same. So number 1, the Wicker Bill, and mainly because of the fact risk of damage is really high. The next mod that I did on my car that I feel like is pretty difficult to do is going to be any large wraps or decals. As you see on my car, I got the big Mopar on the side, and on the hood, I have the decal on the hood. Both of those I did do myself. And here's what makes these difficult to do. So the risk of damage is very low. You don't run the risk of messing up your car by putting these on. As long as you know what you're doing, you can't hurt your car. But where it gets difficult on these cars is going to be the time and the difficulty, of course, of putting these on, especially large ones. Because let me show you this one. So this decal here is one piece. It looks like one piece, it's actually 2 separate pieces. The Mopar here is one piece, and the top part here is another piece. And you have to sit there, you have to get it lined up. I did a wet install on this one so I can make sure I get in the right spot. The part that made it a little bit easier is the fact that this is a flat surface. like this is a flat surface for the most part. So it's easy to lay down, but it's a real big decal to work with. I didn't know about anyone else I could take to do the decal. I do now, but when I did this decal, I did it myself. It took me maybe about 2.5 hours or so to do. I'm not sure what it ranks as far as someone that does it all the time, but to me it took a very long time to do, and it's really difficult to get it laid down like you want because you're working with such a big piece of vinyl. Now the hood here, about the same process. I did a wet install and laid it down and tried to get all the bubble and stuff out of it. Again, risk of damage is really low, but the time it takes to do this and make it look right, it takes a lot of time and patience to do it. Now if you want to take it up a next level, say you want to wrap your hood or something like that, now the difficulty level goes up. A lot of times, like, you can go to YouTube and look up videos how to wrap a hood. Most of the time the hoods that they're wrapping are completely flat, and that makes it easier to do. But with this Challenger hood, it's got all these, you see all that contours and stuff to it? That makes it really hard to get the vinyl to lay down in all those creases and stuff, and it takes a lot of patience to get that to look right. You can't rush it. There's no way to rush it. You're gonna spend a lot of time doing it. If you're not experienced with doing it and you want to tackle it, it's gonna probably take you 3-4 hours maybe to do it, maybe more. Just depends on your level of expertise. But my suggestion is, if you're not that comfortable with it, definitely take it to someone else because you want it to look perfect. Especially if you're gonna spend so much time on it. You don't want to sit here and try to slap it on there in a couple of hours and think it'll be good, because any imperfections will show up if you do a wrap in the hood. So that's gonna be my next most difficult one. All right, so the next mod on my car I feel like is a really difficult mod to do is this SR2 front lip that's on the front of the car. Now, when I first got this car, it had a little smaller RT lip on the front, but of course I wanted to change that out. And I got this lip, at the time when I got it, these lips were really cheap, but now they're pretty expensive because a lot of the RTs and XXTs come with this lip on it already. So the price of this part is a little bit higher now. This one ranks high, I feel like, across the board when it comes to time it takes to do it, the difficulty, and kind of the risk of damage as well. So to get this on, I'm walking through the process really quick. You gotta take, the whole bumper has to come off. There's no way to do this without the front bumper being off. I've seen a video where someone did it with the bumper on, and I don't see how they did it, but hey, whatever. The bumper gotta come off. And when you take the bumper off, the hard part on this car, and it's hard to describe, and the best way I can describe it is describe it as a sandwich. So you know, a sandwich, you got 2 pieces of bread and some meat in between, right? So first layer of bread is going to be the bumper cover itself, like this part. This is the first layer, the bread. The meat is going to be this spoiler thing, the chin spoiler. And then the last piece of bread that goes on top of that is, if you see the lower grill, there's part that goes on the outside of that. It's the last piece of meat. So you have to take this lower grill out to get this spoiler free to get it out. Well, I had some help with doing this one, and we ran into a lot of issues trying to get this lower grill out, get the other spoiler free. And it took forever to get it out. Then the hard part we ran into is getting it back in and getting everything popped back together. The risk of damage comes when you try to put this lower grill enforcement back in. There's a lot of tabs in there, and if you run the risk of breaking one, then you might have to get a whole new bumper cover. And these bumper covers aren't cheap. They're $800-900 or something like that. Then you gotta get it painted and installed and stuff, so they're not cheap at all. So you wanna make sure, like, if you want to tackle this, go for it. But this is an install I do recommend getting someone else to do. Unless you're really comfortable with working on cars and know exactly what you're doing, then go for it. But other than that, don't tackle this one on your own at all. The last mod I want to talk to you guys about that is really difficult to do, and this is more so based on time. It's gonna be my tire stickers. You saw the video that I posted, and I think the video was like 13 minutes long, but you guys didn't see it took me about 3 or 4 hours to do this by myself. And the reason this takes it's so time consuming, you don't have a risk of damage. You won't hurt anything with the tire stickers at all. You won't damage anything on your car. The putting them on isn't really difficult. The part that takes so long to do is the prep work that it takes to clean the tires and put them on and make sure the glue is on right and all that type of stuff, and the maintenance with it. So that's why I feel like this is a pretty difficult install. With me, I did this install by myself in my garage. It was a few months back. You've seen the video on my channel, like I said, but you didn't see it took me about a long time to clean every one of these tires by myself. So you think on one tire I probably spent maybe 30-40 minutes trying to clean it where there's no dirt on it, and I gotta do it on each tire, right? Then after I get everything clean, I have to put the letters on, which I had to put, this came in like 4 sets. So this was a set, this was a set, that was a set, and that was a set. So I had 4 different sets of letters to put on, and I had to put each one on individually for each tire. So you got 4 tires, 4 sets of letters. That's 16 sets of letters I had to put on. Glue them down, apply pressure on them, wait about a couple of minutes for it to set before I can move my hand off of it. So that was a huge time investment to put these letters on. Now, I'm very happy with how they turned out. I love the look, but it is a huge time investment to do. My suggestion, if you do it, at least get another person to help you, so that way you can cut some of that time frame in half, especially with the cleaning. The cleaning takes probably the longest. Get someone else to help you clean the tires. If you can get all the tires off at once, that's gonna speed up your time. I kept my tires on while doing it. If you get the whole car off the ground at once, that will help out as well. But at least get another person to help you out to speed up the process, because you're really doing the same process 4 different times for each tire. So those are my 4 most difficult mods I installed. That is gonna wrap up today's video. I want everyone to comment down below, what mods do you have on your car that were very hard to install or you regret even trying to install, man? Let me know in the comments below. As always, appreciate each and every one of you guys for tuning into the video. We are out. Cut.